It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. Let's go. I'm just telling you to fight for your dreams, but it's not what it seems. Man, it's hard to be seen when everybody wants to be king. Yeah, they all want a ring. Yeah, we all want to be free.
Yay, folks. We're back here at Lions Nation Unite Live on LNU, ready to talk Detroit Lions minicamp. And I'm here with my guy, my pal, the great one, Ant-Man, Anthony Roar, Lions UK. What's going on, bud?
Hey, what up now, Mike? Hope you're having a good week. Yeah, it's fun. Minicamp starting. Get to start seeing the first little real bits of the offseason shakeout now, see how things are rolling. It's good. It's good fun.
It's absolutely good fun. Everybody, welcome everybody in here. And we're just going to get straight to it because there's a lot to talk about here. Minicamp day one. Not participating, Ant-Man, is Hendon Hooker, David Montgomery, Trinity Benson, James Mitchell, Connor McGalvin, Kayada Awusiaka, Frank Ragnow, Levi Nwuzurike, Malcolm Rodriguez, and Chase Lucas. Are you worried about any of those guys?
No, not particularly. I think most of them you'd expect. They've been carrying knocks. There's issues. Some of them are minor, but, again, you're still so far into the off-season at the minute. There's still so much to go that there's no need to rush these guys back. Yeah, like I say, a lot of them. Hooker, we obviously know he's not going to be anywhere near yet. The likes of Mitchell, Ragnow, of course, with that toe's not going to be doing it. I'm not particularly worried. They're just taking their time with these guys, and that's absolutely fine with me. So, but people are coming back slowly, which is good.
Yes, 100%. Limited, Halapalooty, Vate Vaitai, John Kaminsky, Emmanuel Mosey, Tracy Walker. 3 of those names gets my attention in a good way. What do you think about them being limited?
Hey, I like the thought of him, Mosley coming back. I know they said he's been doing sort of a lot more sort of mental reps and stuff like that at the minute, not necessarily so much training on the field, but he's got to make a start somewhere. And again, there is a long way to go at this moment in time. So to see him out there doing these little bits is good. Obviously, Tracy, that's just a miracle that he's there by now. We don't really know how far along the line he is, but the fact that he's just there is a victory in itself, and I will take that. And then Big V, I'm just so happy Big V is back. I have such an affinity to him now, and I just want him to do so well. And I remember when he first came here, I just didn't like the play of him whatsoever. And just over the years, he's just changed my opinion gradually, bit by bit. I want him to be healthy. I want him to be fit. I want him to be the starting right guard. So to see him back now as well, this is positive. We're early in minicamp. They're able to start doing things, and they're all on schedule, hopefully, for the start of the season. And they're going to be huge for us. We need everyone fit. We need everyone healthy. We've got a hard start to the season. There is no warm-ups going in. There is smack bang straight in. We need everybody. We need them on form. So it's good to see these guys coming back. Like I say, it's 1 week in. We're already slowly getting people back. So it's positive.
My guy, Kurt Steele, in the building. And I was so proud to make a video yesterday because generally I cover some of the topics on LNU, and it's about articles. And I see Kurt Steele there. Talked about 3 defensive players potentially not making the team. That video was outstanding. I was so proud. Everybody, shout out Kurt Steele for making it. He is now a writer for our beloved Detroit Lions. I love seeing Halapalooty Vate Vaitai. That was my biggest takeaway. Yes. And Emmanuel Mosley getting in there and being physical. So let's go ahead and get into the real information, what took place on the field. Reports Sam LaPorta shines, building chemistry with Jared Goff. Ant-Man. LaPorta just continues his dominance.
I know, and it kind of feels like, and I know it's not the same situation given where they were taken respectively in the draft, but LaPorta kind of feels like this year's Rodrigo I know obviously a lot would have been expected of him being a second-round pick and that, but you could always tell with the pick, everyone was like, just be cautious with him, but it seems that since the first snap of rookie minicamp, he has just gone out there with the desire to dominate, and he has done. And everyone talked more and more about Malcolm as last off-season went on, and the buzz got real, and it never died down. And when he got on the pitch, he kind of justified all that buzz he'd had. I'm getting the same sort of vibes about LaPorta now. He killed it in minicamp, in rookie camp. He's now coming into OTAs, coming into mandatory training camp, and he's still knocking it out the park. And he's just getting better and better and better. And from all accounts, he's been amazing. And I feel like when the season comes, I think, like Rodrigo, he'll take to the NFL like a duck to water, and I think we'll be talking about him making a big impact there sooner rather than later. So I just like seeing the parallels between these two guys who you didn't necessarily expect to contribute right away, who were just killing it in the offseason and taking the chance.
Yeah, the Sam LaPorta here, everyone knows I wasn't high on getting a tight end, especially specifically this high. But I tell you what, it's looking like Brad Holmes. Like what we always say, defer to Brad Holmes. Even if you're upset with the draft, it's Brad Holmes and knows what he's doing. And again, Sam LaPorta is looking like an outstanding G. And I tell you what, if he can get on the connection with Jared Goff and Amon-Ra, St. Brown, oh my God. I mean, this that's good. That's very good for this offense. It really, really do a fantastic job taking it to the next level. Brian Branch, showing his natural instincts. Again, the biggest steal of the draft. Fluid out there on the field. Quick, nice hips. It looked natural. Thoughts on Brian Branch?
Well, I'm not surprised that it seems to come quite natural to him and he looks good because, we all know Aaron Glenn, the schemes he likes to play, the defense he likes to play in, and Brian Branch fits that to a T. So you would expect him to take to the schemes very quickly, understand what's required of him, what's been asked of him, what he needs to do, and just crack on with it again. So I'm not surprised. I thought out of most of these guys, Branch, because he's just such a perfect schematic fit anyhow, would be the one who showed out quite early, and it seems to be the way. And of course, he's got a great teacher out there with CJG as well. So, I think it's a perfect situation for him. I think and if we don't see him right away at the start of the season, again, we will see him sooner rather than later. But he's another one I expect to put a solid case to go out there during the season. And I would expect to see him very early, but I'm not surprised that he's doing well, and hopefully he can keep it up.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. I think I wasn't with you personally, but my mouth kind of dropped when I heard Brian Branch. I just couldn't believe he's still on the board. It's a great pick, and I think you're showing why he's a top 10 talent, and he just somehow slid to the Lions, and it's fantastic. After early drops, and everybody was worried, Jameson Williams is struggling. Today, Jameson Williams making some big plays, catching everything. I was not worried about, those little camps that they had, the OTAs. I felt like Jameson Williams is in a elite wide receiver when he is fully up to this scheme, and he could be an elite wide receiver in the NFL, and he's showing it.
Yeah, and this is why you don't overreact to rookie minicamp or OTAs or anything like this. It's the start of the year. It's the literal first. I know they practice with one another off season and that, but it's different when you're sunning it on a beach in Miami, playing on some nice field, and you're playing with no pressure in the world. To Dan Campbell's there, Ben Johnson's there. You're under the microscope. You've got to do it right. You've got to do it technically correct. All that sort of stuff. It takes time to learn this, and that's why you have OTAs. That's why you have the rookie mini camps to get to bring some of those issues to attention and deal with them. So that when it comes to training camp, you're like, right, this is where you want to see it come together now, and it does seem to be for them. The catch issues seem to be going away. The rhythm seems to be getting there slowly but surely. And again, we've got weeks more of this. So the longer it goes on, the better it gets. Then you've got preseason. As long as it's heading in the right direction during the offseason, then there's nothing to worry about. He could be the worst receiver in the world at OTAs, but if by the end of practice he looks like a world beater, no one cares about what happened at OTAs. So, yeah, he's looking better. He's looking good. And I think his work ethic looks really good as well. I think he's really knuckling down and trying to, show his teammates that, he does care. He wants this. And, he ballsed up with the gambling thing. But, he's going to take this seriously and take his chance. So, Yeah, again, I just expect to see him keep getting better and better. And that's when the chemistry with Goff comes as well. It takes time. It even took Amon-Ra time to deal with Goff and for them to get cozy with one another. And J-Mo hasn't had that many snaps with him, not that many opportunities. You've got to earn his trust. So that is a time-consuming process, and you've just got to be patient.
And, I remember when Ja'Marr Chase was drafted and he was not doing well in OTs and mini camps and in preseason, everyone was calling this Ja'Marr Chase wide receiver a bust. Folks, when it's not when these guys get into the league, sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get their feet wet. Just because, first off, the Chrome Domes things is hilarious. By the way, we should definitely do a podcast. But just because you're not doing well initially, it doesn't mean you're terrible. And Jahmyr Gibbs has been shining. Him and Jared Goff has been on the same page, building chemistry. It's starting to get better. They're getting rhythm with LaPorta. Now we're hearing with Jameson Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs. You already know what we got with everybody else. This is a damn good sign for the Lions offense.
Oh, God, yeah. If I was Ben Johnson, I'd have like a million plays. I mean, obviously that's hyperbole, but I'd have an absolute ton of plays written up this year just because of how versatile these guys are and what you can do with them. And and again, it's off season. They all look good. Very vastly different experience in the NFL, but I trust Ben Johnson to put them in the best.
Yes. Through the best, whatever. Anthony looks like he fell off a little bit regarding I guess he lost internet or something right there. But yeah, look, you want to see the connections there. It's really important, and we're starting to see it. And it's good because, again, you're getting guys like Sam LaPorta and Jameson Williams. These guys are high draft picks. So you want to see these guys get it done, and they're getting it done. If Futu Malfan was solid in position defensively, so apparently he had a good show, and win impacts Parker Romo, the kicker, in a negative light. So he made a couple of misses, and it is what it is right there. So the kicker position's just going through there. What it says, not just thinking of Ben Johnson's, blew his mind. Ant went mad. For a minute, I thought that I lost internet. I thought that was it for a minute. So I looked at the screen, but yeah, apparently, he had an issue right there. But good offensive showing. We needed that to occur today because the offense hasn't been doing that great. They did much better today. That's good for them. Also, Dan Campbell said he would like, after being in Grand Rapids for a couple of days, he would like to have maybe some training camp sessions in West Michigan, where I live. So if you live in the West Michigan area, that would be freaking awesome. That would absolutely be awesome. Roar to Lions UK is about to come back. Hey, Roar to the Lions UK.
Oh, sorry about that, Mike. My router got so excited at the thought of J-Mo and all that playing in the offense this year, it overheated. So, that's just how exciting this thing is. Sorry, as I was saying before, it's like, yeah, there's just so much you can do with this offense. I don't even know what they're going to run this year, and that's a good thing. So I'm just so looking forward to seeing all of these guys take the field. And because you've got such depth, you don't need to rush them in, give them important starting places right away, put all the pressure on them. You can just gently ease them in, and it's going to be great. And when J-Mo's back after week 6, we're going to be one of the best offenses in the league.
Definitely. And you know what? Ben Johnson was talking about how he can raise the bar for offense. He'd like to be more improved. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, this offense is so good. It's great to hear that, but man, I don't know if it can get more improved too much. It's so good right now.
I mean, did you remember those days of having Adrian Peterson as your a 38-year-old Adrian Peterson running 2 yards up the gut as your lead offensive weapon? And it's just oh my days. That belongs in a history museum. That sort of stuff does now. It's that far in the past. It's just, it was horrible, wasn't it? It's just so nice now. And I think this offense is just going to keep getting better because it's coordinator from the top down. They just want to keep getting better. They want to keep improving. And the best teams, that is what they do. We see the Chiefs continually year in, year out who just evolve their game when you think that they can't anymore. So, yeah, it's great to see, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does going forward.
Yeah, sorry, I was talking to my daughter at the same time. We got Kurt Steele. What's going on, Kurt?
What's going on, family? Hey, I'm gonna hop on right quick, man. I'm just hanging out. I was like, man, I'll jump on with these guys for a hot minute, man. How's it going, Anthony? How's it going, Mike?
Living the dream.
Well.
Living the dream. So what's your takeaways for today's mini camp for Lions?
Still a pajama party. It's like nothing really to get excited about. I mean, I like the approach for the Lions, keeping really like close to the vest and keeping the guys that are injured, you know what I'm saying, kind of like not really throwing them out there, expecting them to, get out there and get into it. It's still no contact, so why even risk the injury? But I'm excited to see Mosley was out there with the second unit. It's still kind of walk through, so you get the update with there. Tracy Walker is out there doing his thing. I'm excited for that pairing with him and Kirby Joseph. I'm just excited for that. People keep saying, "Well, they're the same player." I'm like, if you remember, Tracy Walker can play he can play the box safety. I wouldn't put Kirby Joseph in the box, but I would put Tracy Walker in the box because I've seen him play box safety in there and play at the strong safety position. He can play free or strong safety. So he's.
I don't think they're the same at all. I think they're kind of opposite.
Absolutely, I think they're absolutely opposite. But I'm liking where the Lions are going right now. I'm liking what they're doing. I'm liking their approach. It's still too early to tell what's going to happen during later on in training camp because there's no contact, so it's still a little bit tough. But I like the one thing that stood out to me is one thing that Jared Goff said today, and it was about the secondary, and he said it's tougher for the guys to get open, and the throwing windows are definitely tighter. So I'm liking that because that means, at least for now, in the pajamas, the experiment is working with the new secondary.
Yeah, that was a great comment. And, let's discuss that, Ant-Man, because I read that too. Isn't that just great to hear your quarterback saying it's more difficult because the secondary is sticky?
Yeah, that's what you want. You want the best competition possible for you. So it's great. And of course, no one knows better than the quarterback how well they're doing in practice. He's the guy who's got to try and unlock what they're doing. So if you go trust anyone on their opinion about it, you're going to trust him as well. So yeah, I just feel like it's going to be so uber competitive this year. I think everybody has a point to prove, and this is the season where we're expected to go over the edge. And of course, Ben Johnson wants it to be because of his high-octane, high-powered 50-point offenses. Aaron Glenn wants it to be because they're mean and stingy and give up 15 points a game. So you're going to see the ultimate competitors out of these two, and their units will follow them. So, yeah, it's great. I just think we're really well set up. Of course, they've got to show it on the field, but I think I trust this team too more than I have trusted any team in a long time, let's just say.
They're getting chirpy out there too. They're getting chirpy.
Oh, they get
I'm loving the talking. I'm loving the talking, baby.
Me and Kurt are so similar to how we view things. I love it too. I like that swag, that fight in you, because they're going to do that in the regular season, right?
But tell me about the swag, because you about to say something about some big swag yesterday at Lions Media Day, because I don't want to steal that moment from you, because it was a great moment.
Hey, man, swagoo. That's facts. What'd you think about Ant-Man, about Jared Goff and, his pictures of all the chains and stuff?
The Godfather. I love it. I love it. Kirk Thuggins, move aside. The Godfather's here now. He's looking swag. He's looking... And I think... And that's what you want. You've seen enough humility from Jared. He has shown humility in spades since he came here. Now you want to see a little bit of the arrogance, a little bit of the, I am the man here. You know what? Screw all these people for years now have been saying that I'm not the guy here. I'm just some placeholder. I'm not the guy. Well, you know what? I'm going to be the guy. I was towards the end of last year, and I love seeing that from him as well. And it just seems to be with everything. It's like when he got asked about JMO again and those tweets. And by the way, Kurt, if you're in like a room and anyone asks that question again in future, can you cap them for me? Because I am fed up to death of hearing about JMO writing tweets about Lamar Jackson. It is boring. But, you know, he's got an attitude about it now, and I like it. I think he needs to.
Yeah.
So I just look. As hard as it is for me to be, he might not be the guy of the future for long term, Jared, but I back him 100%. And I am really starting to like him more and more. And I really, really want him to do well with us.
Yeah. The thing with the pitcher, the thing that makes it better than Kirk Cousins, first of all, Kirk Cousins keep his freaking shirt on. But second of all, my man with the buffs make it better. The buffs set the swag to another level, and they were Honolulu Blue buffs. And I'm like, man, that's Detroit all day. You know what I'm saying? So I'm loving that from Jared Goff and being able to, you know, not be, you know, he's been so serious, you know what I'm saying? But he's never been, what do you call that? He's not afraid to laugh at himself or just have fun. So I'm like that. I like what he did in that moment, but you know, Tracy Walker and Kirby Joseph, man, those guys are, you know, they're like, man, we're gonna put some swag on you, so you know, you see the change, you see the watch. So I'm liking that. Yeah, I'm liking that from Jared Goff, and we talked about the swag and the chirp. I let into that, but I'm loving the way the attitude that this defense and this team is going to have. Because Dan Campbell talked about it in his presser today, because you know it's going to start spilling over. It's going to start spilling over into the offense. You're going to have some guys out there competing, but they got to keep it tame right now because they can't kind of run what they would do, like situational plays or offense like that, because of the fact that it will get too physical and they don't want to get fined by the league like a few teams have done over the past couple of years. So. But I like the fact that these guys are out there chirping, and they're gonna make it. The glasses, man. They're gonna make it. They're gonna make it interesting. I love the way that the team is progressing. So we'll see once we get some guys back from injury in training camp. I'm excited to see what's gonna happen in July once training camp starts.
Now we have Kurt Steele here, the guy who makes now articles, and I got to go over your article yesterday on a video. I was so proud to do it. Talk about that article, 3 players potentially that won't make this team on defense.
Right. You look at these guys, right, and you're looking at the players I'm talking about. You know, you look at Fatu, man. You look at Iffy, man, and you look at what Detroit has done in their secondary. And I'm looking at this thing, and I'm looking at, like, where does he fit in? He listed at a safety. He can play both safety and corner, but you look at the cornerback room. I'm like, where's room for Iffy right now?
It's not there.
Maybe he can take the CJ Moore role and be more of a special teamer, but right now, I'm not seeing a lot of room for him on this roster, just because of the fact that they brought in guys that can play both corner and safety. So you're looking at Iffy. And they're bringing them. They brought in Brian Branch and Gardner Johnson. So if there's an injury to Tracy Walker or to Kirby Joseph, I think those guys are ahead of the depth chart for Iffy. You just look at Julian Okwara, man. He hasn't done enough. Like, I'm surprised he made the roster last year, and it's going to be tougher and tougher for him to make the roster. You look at the year that James Houston had. There's no way in hell that Julian Okwara is ahead of him on the depth chart. And you get an outside linebacker like Charles Harris that's coming back. So he can play outside linebacker. He's an edge rusher. Right now, I think I would even put Charles Harris because of the fact that you looked at his sack totals and what he did when he was healthy versus Okwara when he was healthy, the younger Okwara brother. It's clear for me I would take Charles Harris over Julian Okwara. And then you look at the older Okwara brother coming back. Where is there room for Julian Okwara? It's going to. I mean, people keep talking about we need to get red edge rusher. We have edge rushers out the yin yang. I don't know where people think that we have all these rooms for these pass rushers. We have a full pass rusher room. The edge is full. And then, of course, look at Levi Onwuzurike. I said this yesterday. The Lions have spent the last 2 seasons replacing Levi Onwuzurike. The last 2 years with the signing of a Josh Pascal, Isaiah Buggs, and then you look at this year bringing in Broderick Martin. They're moving on. That what they call that quiet quitting. Like they're quiet quitting on Levi Onwuzurike. And if he can't find his way on the field by training camp, he's done.
I gotta say, you're right there. I agree. Levi Onwuzurike, I don't think he makes this team. If Futu Melifonwu is gonna have some issues, and then Julian Okwara for sure. Ant-Man, there's a question here from G Wiz Deplorable. Says, will Jason Kabinda make the team? Put a hashtag if you want your question answered in the comments below.
It's tough. It's very, very tough because on the plus side, you've got ultimate locker room guy, one of the hardest workers in the room, and he has versatility. He doesn't just play at fullback. He can run the football. We've seen he got touchdowns last year. He can play as a receiver. You can utilize him in an offense as varied as Ben Johnson's is. So he has use for this team. And we could do with him here. But then it comes down to the whole point of who are you kicking out for him? And I mean, we were looking at the running back room yesterday, and it was just like, there are so many talented running backs on this team. I want Mo Ibrahim to get in. I still want Jamal Jefferson to get in, and then receivers, in like not having J-Mo for a while, you got to carry more receivers. So is the person that you're going to drop for him worth more to this team? And that's where the question is. For me, I just feel like they are way too invested in him to let him go. I think he does offer something to this team that we need. This team does use a fullback. I know he was injured last year, so we didn't use him as often as we normally would. But I just think I have a sneaking suspicion he makes it. But for me, if I myself would feel comfortable, is who's missing out because of him? Can we carry another skill player who offers more snaps in a game than just a fullback? It's very tough, but I love the guy. And I would be very sad to see him go if he did.
We are here with Anthony from Royal Lines UK, and of course, my man Curtis Steele from Yard Barker, right? And what's the other website?
Sideline Report.
Sideline. I love those guys. Make sure you'll be going over there, read his articles, and I will be making videos about his articles because that's what I do. And guess what? I'll probably agree with it anyways. If you got questions, let us know in the comment section. Let us know. #Glass, where do you guys think our offense will rank at the end of the season? I'm going to go 2.
2 or 3. Right there. 2 or 3.
Wow. I was going to say 4, and I thought I'd be like the optimistic dude. Now I'm like the pessimistic guy. Right. Well, I'll go 3 then. Let's say 3. I think it's going to be very high, just because you've got so many weapons. So.
And
very, very high.
Today, I know if you guys don't know, man, I know I posted over there on the Lions Nation Unite website. I relaunched my YouTube channel. So my channel itself, Kurt Steele, is up and running. I did a welcome video today, so I will be posting my own content. So we're writing articles and posting content. You can go over and check out all the content will be over on kurtsteele.com. So make sure you go over there and check that stuff out.
For sure. And I'm going to get it up actually and put it in there for you guys. I just got to find it at some point, unless he can post it in there himself. So subscribe to his channel. Subscribe. Let's see. Where do you think the defense will rank, Ant-Man?
See, I've said, and I think we were discussing this, me and Kurt were yesterday on our show as well. If it's not 16 or higher, I want Aaron Glenn fired next year. Because this is his 3rd year now. Yes, 2 very big years of growing pains. And yes, the overall stats last year might say we were one of the worst defenses in the league, but that's purely not true. The last 10 games, they were significantly better. And 10 games is a more than big enough sample size to show that it was maybe underachieving. I think it was just young and learning. But now this year, you've got great veteran depth in your defense, which is something he's never had. He's either had old past it vets who don't give a damn, or he's just not had enough of them. Now with the likes of Sutton and Gardner-Johnson and all these guys in the secondary, you've got it there with Anzalone's back, and whether we like him or not, he's the leader in there, and he is a dependable guy for us. And then at the front, you've got Romeo back, you've got Charles back. They're both fully healthy. You've got plenty of experience and youth, and all that talent you've invested in. It needs to be good. Middle of the pack, at least. I'm happy with middle of the pack. If we have the second overall offense and the 16th ranked defense, we're getting into the playoffs quite clearly and simply. But I couldn't accept 3 years and still been in the 20s with all the investment that's been made in there. So I want it to be around 16. I think that's where it'll be, and I will be perfectly happy with that.
Yeah.
What do you think about the defense there?
Middle of the pack is fine for me. 16, 15, 14, around that area. The lowest I may go is 18. That's about it. That's maybe the lowest I would go. But you have to get that natural progression. Like Ant said, you have to start getting out of that bargain basement. We know the struggles of the team last year, starting 1-6. First of all, the offense can't start that slow either. So we're going to have that on both sides of the ball, even though we know they kind of started a little fast, but they had some bumps in the road. You look at most of the turnovers that Jared Goff had was earlier in the season, but we can't have that on either side of the ball. But on the defense, we're going to have to start fast. We're going to be playing some big opponents, you know what I'm saying, start out the season, especially with Kansas City. So the improvement is going to have to show straight away in the season, like right away. As soon as the kickoffs, you're going to have to show improve, because if we're not, we will get run out of Kansas City. And that's a lot of fans around the league want us to be embarrassed in that game.
For sure. Saying here, Weston Lyons says the other day, showing the D improved so much in the last 10 games, we could have been so much higher. I wonder what the defense was ranked from the last 10 games. I can't do game by game.
I can't
That'd
remember.
Be interesting.
I'm pretty sure it was high in the teens.
It was in the teens, yeah.
It was pretty high.
I think weeks 9 through 15. I think they had an article on Pride of Detroit saying that they were in the top 10 through weeks 9 through 15. So that has to put them in the teens for that second part of the season, except for the Christmas Eve game, which I was at. That was the worst game. I drove 2.5 hours for this crap, but that was terrible. But I harp on that, man. But it was just so disheartening to see that game in Charlotte last year. I was like, man, it's like they didn't even show up the first half. I mean, like the score got to where it was in the second half, but the Panthers put up a record number of yards rushing and total for that game.
Hashtag FGB. Good day, gentlemen. Very exciting time for us Lions fans. I want each one of you to play general manager and add one additional available player in each offense and defense. Love our Lions. $20 super chat, but Mike McCall, huge out there. Mike McCall, great name, by the way. You are a real one. If you could get one additional player, who would it be?
Okay,
that's a good
offense. Gotta be. And I know what Ben Johnson said over the, saying he's happy with the quarterback room. I'm going Teddy Two Gloves. I gotta get some experience in that backup quarterback room. Nate Sudfeld has thrown 37 career passes, and he's only a year younger than Teddy Bridgewater. He's 29, Bridgewater's 30. I'm looking at that guy. I'm like, he doesn't have enough experience. If Goff goes down, we don't have an experienced backup, because we know Hendon Hooker is not scheduled to play this year. So I got to go backup quarterback on the offensive side of the ball. I was looking actually at a linebacker, and then we'll say, oh, we got Jack Campbell and all this. Yeah. I was looking at the guy that would play his last year in Atlanta, and I was looking at this young fella, and I was like, the guy was like one of the top guys in the league in tackles. I'm gonna pull his name up right now. And I was like, okay, I'm looking at this guy. Maybe he may be a guy. His name was Rashawn Evans, that played. He's only 27 years old, playing in Atlanta last year. Maybe a guy we could take a look at it. We can get him on a decent contract.
Nice. What about you, Ant-Man?
I mean, for defense, I may have answered this previously, but I would take Nico Ioannidis, the DT from the Panthers. Still think we need a defensive tackle. I would like to let Broderick have a chance to, slowly work his way into and he can with Benito and Bugs around. But I would still like a bigger time guy in there to go with Aleem. So it will be Ioannidis on defense. On offense, I mean, man, I rack my brains, and for me, I don't think there's a lot I would change in defense. I like my quarterback. I like my running back. I love my running back room. I like my tight end room. I love my receivers when J-Mo's back. I mean, I guess it would just be another receiver to sort of, keep us going until J-Mo is back. But I don't know. I don't think I would. I like it the way it is, really, for me. But the defense, I'd take the DT.
For me, I'd go on Ndamukong Suh, defensive tackle. I know he's not going to come here right now because obviously he would want to wait till later in the season. But I'd like to have the enforcer back. I know he's not what it used to be, but we do need a speed lineman. And situationally, I think he would be pretty good still. It's a situation on third down and bring him in. And I think that would be really nice to have that defense, have him back in there. So that would be really, really cool. Hashtag FGB, which kicker do you guys think has the best chance to be our kicker? I'm still going with Riley Patterson. I think that since they traded for him, that he's probably their guy. That's what I'm going to go with. What about you, Ant-Man?
Oh, 100%. I want it to be Romo Cop. He is the only one I want to win that job. And from what I've heard, he looks the best kicker out of them all so far. Apparently, he's lacing them in from 60 yards with accuracy, length, precision. But most importantly, apparently, the technique is flawless that he's using. Now, he's got to do it from a bit shorter in, but, we had Prater for years who was inconsistent at short and sent in the big ones, so I don't mind. I want Romo Cop all the way.
What about you there?
Man, you got to go with the Romo leg, man. You got to go with Romo Cop, man. The future, like I said, the future is now. You got to put that guy out there. If he's making them from 60 and the other two guys can't make it from 49 in, you got to have that. You got to have that guy. If he's doing that stuff, man, he's got, and then Dan Campbell was looking at this thing like, still an open competition. And what we heard from Jeremy yesterday was the fact that it's right now, it's up in the air. It's anybody's game.
How is Vaitai looking? Is he really up to making it back from back surgery to supplement the top-notch offensive line? I think so, because just because he had back surgery doesn't mean it was a fusion or something like that. It could have been something that's repairable and that you can come back from. And he did some snaps today. He wasn't just on the sideline. He was actually participating. So I do think so, Ant.
I think he's a tough SOB. I mean, remember when he first came here, everyone was skeptical that he could play for us because of all the injuries he'd had at Philly and got injured in training camp his first year here. And everyone's like, oh my God, we've just wasted 50 million on this guy. But before he got hurt, it was like, we can't lose him. We can't afford to lose him. He's always seemed to fight his way back. And I loved listening to his interview, the whole contemplating retirement thing. And if he's sat there and really thought about it, and, he's not going to come back if he thinks his back is screwed and that he could cause himself permanent damage in the long run. I think he would only come back out of respect for this team, his coach, if he can give 100% and be the guy that he was before. I think anything less, he would have retired or quit. So I 100% believe that he can be back. It will take time, just getting the confidence, just getting the belief in himself, just making sure the back does hold up. But I want him in there more than anything. If for anything, it's him and Penny when they work together, they are elite together. You know, the pair of them are in lockstep. They work in sync. Penea said how much of an influence he's been on his career so far. So I think he can. I don't think he'd have come back otherwise.
What about you there, Kurt?
I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be able to come back. And like you said, when you put him with Sewell out there on the right side, man, that's a very dangerous duo. I like how they getting down out there on the right side if they're together. And you know, we did sign Graham Glasgow in the offseason, so you know that battle is going to be going on, and then going on with Kobe Swordsdal. So yeah, but I think it's Big V's position to lose, and I think that he will do everything he needs to do to get back on the field.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree that it is Big V's position to lose.
You have like 8 player classes.
Well, I keep seeing Mike is 4 eyes, so I had to change it up a little bit. What
Okay.
numbers do you see Pascal putting up this year, Ant-Man?
Pascal? Ooh, that's interesting. It's hard to project any of that edge room because, as Kurt put earlier, it's loaded. I mean, it's loaded from the top down. You've got Hutch and Houston. You've got Kamish and Pascal. And then if that's not enough, you've got Charles Harris and Romeo Okwara. So it's... How much do I think he could get compared to how much he might get just because of playing time? Put me down for about a half dozen sacks. I think he's capable of that. And a very good run defender. I saw good impacts from him in that asset of the game last year, but I'm not putting his stats down to him not being good. It's just it's going to be rotational. But I reckon half a dozen sacks. He'll make some big plays, and I think by the end of the year he'll be firmly in the rotation, and that's what we want because then we can either let both or one of Okwara and Harris go because they're going to be gone at the end of the year. So we do need these young guys to step up to make sure that roster's fulfilled in the future. So, but yeah, I think he will do well in rotational reps.
Yeah.
Now, Curtis Steele. Oh, go ahead, Kurt. Go ahead.
I was going to say about the same 6 reps. I mean, about 6 sacks, 6.5, maybe 7, topping out at about 7, maybe 6.5, 7. But I'm loving what he did. And remember he was hurt, you know, some of the season last year. So he's going to be fully healthy. And with the NASCAR package, you're looking at what the guys they can bring in. You don't know who's coming from anywhere. So I'm loving that. Once that, you know, it's going to be some quarterbacks that's going to have some slow singing and some flower bringing this year with that defensive pass rush.
I just lined 2 NASCAR packages up on either side. Send all 6.
Yeah.
Yes.
Send them all.
Yes. 100%. Great question here from Mr. 313. Who is starting at safety? Kirby Joseph or Tracy Walker? Curtis Steele?
Both. Tracy Walker is going to play this strong safety, and Kirby Joseph is going to play the free safety. So Tracy Walker at strong safety, and you're going to have the Kirby Joseph at free.
Ant-Man, should the Lions leave JMO's suspension alone?
I think we're going to find out a lot more about this gambling thing coming up. I feel like there's a tale to be told beforehand. At the minute, no, leave it alone. If you don't know, if you've not got the evidence to overturn it, the NFL are not going to admit to a mistake like not, enforcing the rules hard enough. They simply don't take accountability that way. But if a big enough storm emerges from this and all of a sudden lots of players are getting implicated, which they've said has been the case, agents have been getting told by players that have been doing it, then maybe we'll see a right. Anyone who's been done, clean slate, but from now on, it's enforced. So right now, no, but down the line before the season starts, I wouldn't be surprised if that situation changed.
What do you think about that?
It's something's going on because you look at the article posted yesterday by The Athletic. They had a survey, and a lot of players from this survey had no idea about the rule that Jameson Williams was suspended under. So you look at that, and then you look at what's going on in the Indy right now. We're talking about that guy maybe get banned for life. To say he was betting on actual Colts game, so he was betting on the league and his actual team game. So there's something brewing with this gambling thing, with this gambling policy, and guys, and for the people who said it's just BS that J-Mo said he didn't know the rule, apparently he's not the only one.
And this is why you don't make prejudgments like everybody did with J-Mo. Those who have the agenda against him, who just used it to jump all over him. This is why you don't do it, because you don't know the facts. And it seems like it is a case that he genuinely did not know. Other players are remaining anonymous, have done this as well. This could have been another way around. This could have been the indie guy who got found out first, and J-Mo been like, oh, I best keep quiet about this, otherwise I'll get. So, he's the unlucky one who's been pinged by it. But there are lots more out there who apparently didn't know about it. So maybe it wasn't on J-Mo. Maybe he's not as immature as some people wanted us to believe he was.
I think people just hate to hate. For whatever reason, he's the target. He's been the target for a while. It's like, dude, ever since he got drafted because he was injured. So, I think the Lions may do something. They absolutely may do something. I like that. Hashtag FGB. How many team sacks do we get? How many sacks? Curtis Steele.
60. 60. We're getting 60.
Ooh.
We had 39 last year. We're getting 60 this year.
Holy moly. 60 sacks. He's going there. He's going big. What about you, Ant-Man? Let me know in the comment section. How many sacks do you see the Lions getting?
So only one team passed 60 sacks last year. That is a lot. I'll say 50. But I think we'll get a boatload of tackles for losses and stuff like that as well. So put me down for 50.
I'll go for 51, just because I feel like it's the Price is Right. You go the dollar.
The Price is Right. Luke was right about you. You're the Price is Right, guys.
So I'm gone. So if they get 50 and a half, does that mean you still win as well? Do you round it up?
No, you lose if
round
you
it
go
down.
over. You always
lose it.
In this game, I win. All right. So if Brent DeWitt says hashtag free JMO. Do you think both Hutch and the Problem get double-digit sacks? Ant-Man.
So I love James Houston. I did since camp last year. I knew he was going to be special. I don't think he hits double-digit sacks this year. And it's not because I think he's going to be bad. But I think for him, especially the late round picks, the 6th round guys, there will be a steep learning curve this year. He is not unknown anymore. Last year, he was a completely unknown entity, and he's working against, he's working opposite Hutch, who's getting all the attention. Teams are going to be very well aware of what he can do now. When he's on the field, they will be paying due care and attention to him. So he's going to have a very steep learning curve, and I think he will overcome that learning curve, but I don't think it will lead to double-digit sacks. And again, simply because how deep that edge room is. If one guy gets hot, if Pascal gets hot, Romeo gets hot, Charles gets hot, whatever, Kamish gets hot, he might lose his spot in the rotation. Not his fault, just you ride the hot hand with the guy who's doing well. So I don't think Houston will, but he will still have a good season. But I think Hutch will.
Think like 20 together?
Yeah, I reckon like 12 for Aiden, 8 for Houston, something like that. I think it will be a split like that. Cool.
So he's got 12. What do you got? How many sacks between those do they get double digit?
Both of them get double digit. I said 60 sacks, so I got to put both of them in double digits. Yeah. I can't go back now. I said 60, so I got to give them at least 10 apiece.
Okay, so they did 20. I'm going to go 21. I'll take the one over again, so I win if it's over.
So,
the Price is Right.
In Kurt's scenario, kind of one of the guys has to get 20. Who's getting 20 sacks this year, Kurt, for you?
Oh, who's getting 20 sacks? Okay, so if I say that one of these guys has to get 10, so I'm gonna put 10 for Hutch. Up at 10 for Houston, and I'm going to go 19.5 for Aiden Hutchinson.
Great comment by Mr. 313 there. Mr. 313
I gotta go big.
Correct.
You got to go big, go home.
I love it. Exactly, Kurt. Go big or go home.
Go home. So, because it's going to be harder to double team because of the depth of the pass rush this year. It's going to be harder and harder to double team Hutchinson this year, or even slide protection over, because if you slide protection off of Hutchinson, you're going to have the big guy, Aleem McNeil, in your face all game. But you're going to have the big guy, Isaiah Buggs or Broderick Martin or Josh Pascal or Kaminsky. It's going to be pick your poison this year.
And even then, they said that Barnes has been playing out his mind in camp, and his thing is pass rush. So if Barnes suddenly takes the step we all think he should, then you've got to watch from round the edges. You've got to watch him from the outside linebacker position. It's an embarrassment of riches, is what we have this year, really, when it comes to the pass rush. So Hutch is going to get a lot more one-on-ones because they just cannot afford to double team him. You saw with Houston, all the teams focused on Hutch, and Houston ate till he could eat no more. They can't afford that to happen this year.
Yeah, and even with that, got to remember Barnes switched from edge to linebacker. Remember, he started off his career in college as an edge rusher, so he has the pass rushing experience.
Sad that the Detroit media is the only media trying to paint image bad of Jameson Williams. That's an interesting note. Saying that it's only the local media. Now, you are in the media now, Kurt Steele from Yard Barker and Lions Wire. Or sorry.
Sideline Report.
Sideline. Lions Wire is the only one.
Yeah.
What do you think about that comment?
Well, I will have to say I've seen some of my colleagues paint him in a bad light. I've seen one thing with over on the Pride of Detroit where they said he has an image that he does not deserve. Some of the fan base have turned on him since he's been in Detroit, especially this offseason, even before the gambling scandal, because of all the social media stuff. I'm like, he's still a kid, man. Whatever. Get over yourself, man. And Jared Goff's not paying attention to it. Him and Goff are, they have their stuff on the field where they still got need to get their timing down. But as far as that stuff, they're not blowing that stuff up, man. You just gotta, but you see the kid is immersed in Detroit culture. People say, well, he shouldn't have been down on 6 Mile getting conies, but guess what? He's putting himself in the community, and they were like, and the people he was around were protecting him because of who he is and where he plays for. He reps the city, and you're gonna have to get over yourself just because these younger players aren't the same guys that we're used to getting. They're not the same. As far as you can't put them in the box, everybody's not going to act the same or be the same. Or if you look at Jahmyr Gibbs, man, that kid barely says 2 or 3 words out of his mouth, man. But it's just one of those things where all these guys are different personalities, and you got to treat them case by case basis. I want to know what they're going to do on the field to make sure that the Lions are going to win. That's my big thing, and I think that JMO is going to be focusing on that stuff instead of the negative stuff in the media.
I find this like a common denominator for me between a lot of the big protagonists here, the ones who love to get at JMO, the ones who are still upset that we gave up draft picks to go and get him. If we drafted Jameson Williams in the draft where we did naturally, if that's where we were picking and we picked him, you wouldn't get any of this. But there are still some people hurt that we gave up a 2nd-round pick to go and get him last year. It's just like, grow up. It was a big thing when we first got him. Everyone's positional value. You don't do that for a guy like that. And to make their agenda work, JMO has to suck and be ran out of Detroit as a failure, which is why they go after him. I genuinely believe that. And I know the ones in the press who do were the ones on that particular bandwagon. And I know some of the fans who don't like it either, that we gave up picks for him. Be exactly the same with anyone we trade up to get. People don't like it. They want the extra picks. They're going to make damn sure that they try and fail. So, I just ignored them. You've got to, I mean, this is an electric talent. He is, and everyone should be backing him. You know, I said last year, you know, I've not looked forward to seeing the debut of a player in the last decade more than Jameson Williams, out of everyone we've ever drafted. It's just what sort of talent he is, and that's how we should be backing him. And that's what he will be for us. So I just hope it stops and he shuts them up on the field this year.
Yep.
Carlton Wood, can Derek Barnes, Anthony Pittman, and Jalen Reeves maybe make the 53? Yes, yes, and yes. Two special teams, and Derek Barnes could make it as a linebacker. Even though they're all linebackers, you got to understand that the other two is primarily special teams, and they can do, and that's why they brought him here. We've been on for nearly an hour. Ant-Man, what do you got to say before we close this bad boy out?
I'm really enjoying seeing this team gel. I think this is going to get better and better, man. This season just cannot come quickly enough. So, you know, just get it to me as quick as possible. I'm really looking forward to it. That's all I can really say. If you want to come and find me and the other guys at Royal Lions UK, you can find us at said name on YouTube everywhere. Bunch of Detroit Lions fans from the UK who love to talk Detroit Lions. We had our 200th episode yesterday. Kurt was very grateful. He came on the show. We got the big guests on there. He was great. So, keep backing us. We really appreciate it. But, thanks ever so much.
Kurt, what do you got to say if we close this?
Yeah, man. My new article on the Dan Campbell's comments on Jared Goff in the press conference they just dropped at Sideline Report. I just got the notification. So head over there, head over to kurtsteele.com. Right there on my homepage is all the links for all my content. And I appreciate you guys supporting me. And shout out to my guys over at Detroit Lions on the Prowl. I'm not over there anymore, but I still family. And they had their premiere episode of Lions on the Prowl Roar, Prowl Nation Roar last night. And I hung out in the chat. So I get to be on the other side for a little bit, you know, hang out with those guys. But continue to support the Proud Nation family and, you know, highlight me at kurtsteele.com. And my stuff's going to be over at Lions Nation Unite as well. So, you know, I'm everywhere, baby.
Man, he's like a hooker in Vegas. He everywhere, baby. With that said, adios.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan. Your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be fucking sour. Take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder. Work until